instruction is, you see what's in the register, you look at your listing, yes, the system's done what it's supposed to, they execute the next instruction, it then goes down, goes back, you look at the red light, yes, the system's done what it does, you keep doing this. Finally, one time, you hit the button one more time, and all of a sudden, all the lights disappear, and you go, uh-oh. And that was the place that your program actually crashed, and it was probably because you stored data on top of another instruction, because we didn't have separate instruction and data space. No. Data was instructions, and instructions were data. So you could overwrite your instructions, no problem. Okay, it's a little bit like MS-DOS. And that was one thing that could go wrong. There were lots of things that could go wrong. But you would use the switches to help you step through your program, instruction by instruction by instruction.
Qué huevo ibas a
Well, here's another thing. I mean, when I went back, these were little mini computers that you operated hands-on. Of course, we also had larger computers that we would turn in programs that the professors gave us. And with these, you would punch the cards, take your card deck, slide it through the hole in the wall to the person who was the operator on the other side, and they were supposed to run it on the computer. But the problem was that as a student, you had a very small amount of money that was allocated to you. And if you used up all that money, then you couldn't run any more programs. So you would mark your program as being the lowest priority program. Everybody else, like all the faculty and everything else, their programs would run before your program would. So typically, you would only get one run of your program every 24 hours. So the first time you put it in, you get your compiling listing back, you got all these syntax errors. You didn't just fix a couple of them and try again. No way. Because that was another 24 hours, and there was another $2 taken off of your money, right? So you went through, you fixed every single syntax error you could find, and then you sent it again. And you really did this carefully because you didn't want to waste money or time. We're not like you guys. I'll just recompile it. It'll be done in a second. No way. So this helped me later on because when I was teaching, I was walking around. You had a CRT screen. You had full screen editors. They'd be typing in their program in the editor. I walked over and looked down and said, "That's wrong." I said, "How do you know it's wrong? I haven't compiled it yet." I said, "You see it's wrong. The syntax is wrong. It's right there." They said, "You just looked at it. You just looked at it." I said, "Yes." I said, "Why do you need a computer? You can see it's wrong." Ken Thompson, the man who invented Unix, one of the people who invented Unix, he came to our Bell Laboratories location one time, and we were having problems with the Unix system downloading data and programs to a numerical control machine. And we told him what the problem was. And he goes, "Oh yes, I know what that is." And he found the trapdoor into the system. He shut the system down. He went into the source code, the device driver. He fixed the device driver. He recompiled it. He rebuilt the kernel. He rebooted the system just about as fast as I have just told it to you now.
Wow.
And sure enough, the system worked. Yes.
So how born the idea to make a project management
We had where the idea come from to create free software.
No, the dimension. Para manejar. Manager.
What man?
How first the idea manage ¿Cómo surge la idea de crear un proyecto para manejar, para administrar software libre?
Where comes the idea to manage like for free software?
There isn't anybody who administers free software. There is no Linux company. There are a lot of Linux distributions. And the way that present day free software started was because in the time frame of 1977, companies like Apple, Microsoft, Sun started producing software in binary only form. And people were used to getting software in source code form, or at least having access to the source code. But in this period, they said, no, we're only going to do binary only software. And this person at MIT, Richard Stallman, who said, I don't like this. I want an operating system that's completely available in source code. And so he decided to write an operating system, and he called the project GNU, which stands for GNU is not Unix, because he wanted it to be like Unix, except that you would get the source code for it, and it would be completely free. So he started with one project called Emacs, and Emacs is a text editor that most people think is a complete operating system. It does a lot of the things an operating system does. And Richard did that project, and then he said we could use compilers. So he started the GNU compiler project. From that we get GCC, we get F77, a lot of other compilers. And then, and as he did this, more and more people joined his project, and he created the Free Software Foundation. But they kept doing these projects, and there was one part that was missing, which was the kernel of the operating system. And so in 1991, Linus Torvalds, who was a college student, decided he was going to write his kernel just for fun. And he didn't think it was going to be very important or very big. So he started this project, and other people joined. And then in May of 1994, there was enough of it there, they called it version 1.0. And so then people took the software from GNU, and they took the software from Berkeley, and they took some software from the kernel, and they put it together into a distribution. And these distributions are like Slackware, Red Hat, SUSE. So all these pieces come together. Now, Linus is the architect of the kernel, but there's lots of people that contribute to it. But there's no official Linux distribution because he just makes the kernel. And while the Free Software Foundation creates a lot of the software, it's not all of it. So, for example, the X Windows system was developed at MIT, and they contributed that. The SendMail system for delivering mail was written by a man named Eric Allman, and he contributed that. So lots of different pieces come together in these distributions to create what most people call Linux, what Richard Stallman calls GNU Linux, and what probably should be called GNU, SendMail, Berkeley, everything else Linux. But that's too hard, so I just say Linux. On a good day, and if Richard is around, I'll call it GNU Linux. So there is no Linux control. And a lot of the projects use different tools and different manage their projects. Debian is probably one of the largest projects. They have 29,000 different packages done by about 2,200 different people. We have at least 3 different desktops. Actually, we have KDE, Enlightenment, and well, the one that's in Marshlands, I can't remember what it is. But all of these have different features that people like. So people can choose which desktop they want to use. You're not forced to use one desktop.